What's up, everybody? Y'all let me know if y'all can hear me in the comments. Having a little technical difficulties trying to get started. In the comments tuning in, let me know if y'all can hear me pretty good. I think we should be good to go now. Let's see, man. We should be straight now. All right, there we go. There we go. We good now. All right, man. We start this thing over, man. Microphone going crazy. Look, man, thanks for tuning in to another season and episode of Zone Coverage Podcast. I'm your boy Zoe Phillips, man. Look, football season is back. Everybody's happy. All is right with the world. Look, man, y'all come on in. We're going to get into it. We got football this weekend, man. SWAC-MEAC Challenge coming up this weekend. We're going to get into it. And y'all just bear with me for tonight, man. Boy, just getting off work, rushing in, scrambling to get this thing to you, man. And look, got an announcement tonight, too. But we're coming twice a week for you guys, man. So if y'all come on in, get into it. Southbound, what's happening? Big Meat. Look, man, we got a big season coming up. A lot of different storylines. Yeah, Brandon, what's happening, man? What's happening? Y'all come on in. Look, man, we got a big season coming up. Look, man, so I'm gonna get into it. Look, as you guys know, I'm gonna get into talking about the MEAC and SWAC projections. And again, we got our first game coming up this weekend. We got the SWAC-MEAC Challenge in Atlanta, man. Southern University Jaguars versus the North Carolina Central Eagles, which is a damn good matchup for the first game of the season. And if you guys didn't know, the SWAC-MEAC Challenge actually made an announcement this week. Coming up in 2029, the Jackson State Tigers will be taking on the Norfolk State Spartans to open up the season. And what better way than Michael Vick having his first game in Atlanta against the Mighty Tigers from JSU, which should be a great game. If Michael Vick just so happened to still be there, I know Jack State would still be rolling at that particular time. But look, did want to make an announcement, man. Look, so coming up to the season, man, we'll be doing this for you guys, man, every Thursday night, man, previewing up the upcoming games. And look, for this season, man, coming live, real live reaction for these games on Saturday night, man. Me and Scotty will be going live doing the show this season, man. Giving you insight and giving you live raw reactions and highlights after each game, each Saturday after each game. To give you some live raw reactions, which is going to be a damn good show, man. We actually going to start this weekend after the SWAC-MEAC Challenge, and we'll get into it. But look, get into it, man. Look, the SWAC, as you guys already know, I just want to actually bring this up because if we want to jump into this game, I at least want to have this on wax to show so you guys can actually see it before we actually get into the game, right? So I'm actually going to bring in the MEAC first, man. Bring up the as you guys can see, the MEAC order finish. And it's tantamount we actually get into this before we get into this game, bring up the SWAC in the MEAC. And as you guys can see, man, South Carolina State was picked to repeat to actually win the MEAC again. You got South Carolina State coming in #1, North Carolina Central coming in at #2, which is very important because I want you to see where they're projected to be at, which is where they finished last season, as well as Morgan State coming in at 3rd. You got Norfolk State coming in at 4, Howard at 5, and Delaware State at 6. Now, as you guys know, we got two big changes in the MEAC this year with Michael Vick and Deshaun Jackson both coming into the MEAC. You see Michael Vick picked to finish at 4th, and Deshaun Jackson picked to finish 6th within the conference for this year. And I can tell you right now, that's totally wrong. I totally disagree with saying what that's going to end up looking like. I think the MEAC will have a lot more parity this year. I think whoever wins the MEAC this year will have 2 losses. I really do. Or whoever wins. I think it's a really, really good chance this year that they're going to have a co-championship this year in the MEAC. I do believe that both South Carolina State and South Carolina State and North Carolina Central will both lose a conference game this season. I think Delaware State will not finish last place in this conference. That will belong to Howard. And also, I think Norfolk State, both of those teams will be a lot formidable than what everybody expects. I can tell you right now, if you look on paper, Delaware State has the fastest team or will have the fastest team in that conference this year. They will clip somebody. It's going to happen. And Norfolk State is going to clip somebody. So can I see South Carolina State, beating North Carolina Central and still losing to Norfolk or Delaware State? I do. Or Morgan State. If Morgan State has it, they have the defense. If they can find a quarterback, Morgan State could possibly clip somebody, you know, and it's very, very possible. So I think I do believe that North Carolina Central is going to win the conference, but I can also see where it could be a first place tie with North Carolina Central and South Carolina State, or possibly a three-way tie. And the MEAC is known to do that, right? Because bear in mind, you can easily have one loss in that conference. I can see a scenario where you can have South Carolina State, North Carolina Central, and let's just say, for example, Norfolk only having one loss. Like I really, really, truly can see it. So the thing with, I think the dark horse in this conference this year is Morgan State. They have the defense, they have the coaching pedigree. They just got to muster up some offense. It's been the same storyline for the past 2 years. We don't know that yet. We got to see it. But again, if Morgan can find any type of adequate quarterback play, they can clip somebody. And all it takes is 2 wins to really just muck up this conference. I mean, you only got 5 conference games. So, but if I had to pick my druthers, man, I gotta tie first place. I truly believe the MEAC is going to have co-champions this year. Who that's going to be, I'm unsure, but I do pick one of those teams to be North Carolina Central. I'm unsure who the second team will be. I think, but I will go on a limb and say Delaware State and both Norfolk State is going to make some noise within that conference this year. They will clip somebody or two, right? So I just want to bring it up because again, you pay attention to where North Carolina Central is projected to finish in second place. It's a storyline as we mosey on over here to the SWAC. You got the SWAC right here. Of course, the SWAC always run chalk, right? You got Southern and Jackson State projected to win their respective divisions again this year for the second year in a row, knowing they were the two teams who met up in the SWAC championship last year. Again, Jackson State is expected to make it to the SWAC championship again to defend its crown, and Jackson State's loaded. That kind of goes without saying. I'll get into my team just a little bit later, but again, look at Southern. That's parallel, you know what I'm saying, to in a way to North Carolina Central. Southern made it to the SWAC championship game last year, and which would be the de facto runner-up team or second place team in the conference. Same exact place that North Carolina Central finished last year within the MEAC. But also, as you guys can see, FAMU is projected to finish second, Alabama State third, Alabama A&M fourth, Bethune-Cookman fifth, and then Valley torn up the rear, last place in the East. In the West, you got Southern. You got Alcorn coming in second, which is a huge surprise to me. Got Prairie View finished up third, which that's kind of questionable as well. Texas Southern coming in fourth, Grambling fifth, and Pine Bluff bringing up their rear in sixth place. Now, I want to say this. I'm gonna say a lot of things. You guys can cook a lot of it, but I want to say this: Mississippi Valley will win 4 games this year. I'm not saying anything to get any type of any likes or anything like that. I'm not even trying to give a hot take. I'm just giving my honest opinion. I think Valley's going to win 4 games this year. Valley's going to clip some people, and I never say this, but I love what Terrell Buckley's doing. They got some players, and I expect Valley to make some headway. I also don't think that Bethune-Cookman is going to be exactly what they were last year. Now, what that looked like, that remains to be seen, but they got some question marks, but we got to see it. I think Valley is better than Arkansas Pine Bluff. But Pine Bluff got a little quarterback that I'm interested in seeing as well. So we'll see. But my dark horse and who I'm hot on in the East Division is Alabama A&M. I love the hire of Sam Shade. Came in to, halfway loaded, covered. Because Maynard had some talent on that team, and that roster wasn't devoid of talent. And so Sam Shade is not coming into a situation where he has to overload and replace everything. Brought a handful of players in from Miles, have great recruiting inroads in the state of Alabama. I mean, he's nowhere from Miles to where he's going to now. You know what I'm saying? And I really think Alabama A&M is going to be in contention for second place in the East in year one. The biggest question mark in the SWAC is going to be whose quarterback is going to show up. That's going to be the main thing. That's the storyline within the entire conference. You look at Prairie View, new coach, and in the West, every team outside of Southern is bringing in a brand new quarterback. Every last one of them. So again, it's gonna look like whose quarterback is actually gonna come on and actually, you know what I'm saying, play up to par to lead their team to some victories, right? And so you look at Jackson State, that's the only stable quarterback within the conference. You got Andrew Body at Alabama State, but he's coming off an injury, which then also come off the year before that, another injury. So yeah, it's like we know what Andrew Body could do, but number one, he has to be healthy, and number two, Andrew Body really hasn't done anything within this conference. So, outside of Jacoby Morgan, Andrew Body has significant playing time in his conference, but hasn't yielded any success in doing so. So, and at this point, we're just living off high school, exploits. So, but I think when it comes down to the roster, Alabama State lost their D coordinator, lost their top four. These were the players on their team. I think Alabama A&M is going to step in and be in contention for second place. I think whoever wins the Alabama A&M and FAMU game will probably end up second place. I'm still high on FAMU. I think FAMU's loaded like they always are. They're going to always have players. So just going to come down to how they look this year, stopping the run, and what they do defensively this year. But again, I think FAMU's still going to be formidable. That kind of goes without saying. But I think the winner of that FAMU Alabama A&M game, that's who will end up in second place, right? When we get over to the West, again, Southern's picked to win it. Alcorn in second place is very, very, very puzzling to me. Again, not knowing who they have at quarterback, they brought a whole new set of new guys in. And I get the whole idea of saying they went where they went without quarterback play. But again, we don't see what they have and how we have them rate the highs unbeknownst to me, because you would think with that logical thinking, the Texas Southern should be higher than Alcorn, right? And honestly, outside of everybody else, everybody's real big on Prairie View because they brought in talent. And Tremaine Jackson, my dark horse is Texas Southern. Texas Southern got their quarterback back, who played well, got hurt, injured, and the team changed from then. I love what Dishman is doing. And they're under the radar right now. And I think Texas Southern is going to they're going to be a thorn and be a player in that Western Division. I too have Southern winning the division. I honestly got it coming down between Texas Southern, and Grambling. Grambling is, similar to Grambling's going to always have talent. It's going to come down to how well T-Set plays. I think Ty Keys is no longer with the program. I'm unsure. But I'm a fan of T-Set. It's going to come down to what they do on offense. T-Set has the goods, so it's really going to come down to what they do. But Grambling has the roster. They have the players. So come down, they can put it down. And they're the only team that really caused Jackson State any trouble. So I think the West is going to come down between those three teams. I think it's going to come down to Southern, Grambling, Texas Southern. And again, I got Texas Southern winning the first game of the year against Prairie View. So there's that. Now, because I'm not gonna keep y'all up too long with this. But man, let's get into this game, man. This game got a lot of storylines. A lot of storylines in this game. It's gonna be a damn good game this weekend. And I'm gonna get into who I actually got for the win in this game. But I actually wanted to bring up some things for you guys with this game. It's some damn good storylines. Um, First off, I want to get into the coaching staffs. The rosters and everything else, man. I know everybody. Look, North Carolina Central is by far and away the favorite to win this game. Um, when you look at what they did offensively, how they looked, they came up short against South Carolina State, just those Southern, and the way they looked. But I don't see Southern last year the way everybody else does. So we have to remember, last year was Terrence Gray's first season as a head coach. I believe it was Trey Oliver's fifth or sixth season, fourth or fifth season last year. I got to pull it up. And for as bad as Southern looked, the things you could take from it is, yes, they had bad O-line play. You had a lot of different things in year one of a brand new regime, but it's what you could take from that because again, under a brand new coaching regime, your greatest year pretty much goes up from year one to year two. And the one benefit that Southern has was the fact that last season went the way that it did. That's a benefit for them this upcoming season. The fact that the offense looked the way that it did, and somehow, some way, whether some games with pure luck, and sometimes you need the ball to bounce your way to get some wins. But the fact that you had a young team, one of the best defensive players in the conference, and week after week after week, they were in dogfights. And they lost a game they should have won. So just they went 8-5 um last year. They easily should have won 9 games last year and been 9-4. Because they should have lost, they should have won that game against McNeese. But again, when you're in those multitude of games, week after week after week, struggling like that, those guys are going to fight. They're going to fight. And that's why I think that people are overlooking. We have to remember the greatest equalizer in this game is the fact that it's week one. The fact that this game is in week one is an advantage for Southern more so than it is for North Carolina Central. Because remember, North Carolina Central is the overwhelming favorite. Nobody's expecting Southern to win. But Southern was in every game that Southern had last year was a close dogfight. Pretty much won a lot of games they should have lost. And so what happens is you build a scrappy team, and both teams are good defensively. I know everybody have their issue with Fredericks in the way that he wants to run the ball. And I do have one key stat in this game because I'll say this: everybody knows that Southern wants to run the ball, but make no mistake, if Southern has success running the ball in this game, Southern will win this game. I think the main thing for me is if Holly is truly going to play in this game. Not sure how much he'll play, but if he plays and gets the bookload of the carries, if they stay ahead of the chains and they're having substantial success running the ball, Southern will win this game. I think Kelby Givens is going to wreak havoc in this game. I like Reed for Central too. I think he's going to be a big player as well. No, they're going to move him around, and I think he'll have a high tackle game this game. But I also think Southern may do some things differently. Having Cam McCoy, I think, helps them too, because having another rusher, especially knowing that Frederick likes to run a lot of zone reads, but Cam McCoy can actually do some picking and popping on some slants and things of that nature. I'm telling you guys, and we'll get into some numbers now. I think outside of that, the one key thing in this game is that, you know, the one thing that really murked Southern last year, and the reason why everything looked so ugly as it did was turnovers. First game of the season. So the one key thing for Southern to win is, well, it's two. If Southern wins the turnover battle, they don't turn the ball over, and they're having some success running the ball. I think Southern will win this game. If they don't, it'll get ugly. It'll get ugly fast. I know. I like um the quarterback at North Carolina Central. I like him. He doesn't really turn the ball over. I like the scheme that they run. Love the offensive coordinator. But Central's offense, if you look at the numbers, they aren't as explosive as people actually think that they are. When you look at them statistically, you look at Texas Walker Ranger. You look at passing yards last year. It was barely a little bit more than what Southern did. They're comparable, right? And Southern played multiple quarterbacks last year, but it's comparable. The thing with Southern was again just having turnovers, and I think it was just new offense, new scheme, and not having success running the ball. That was Southern issue. I think going into year two, having some continuity in year two, adding some more players to fit the scheme. Not unsure how Will's going to do. We know both quarterbacks are going to play, but statistically, when you look at Walker and look at what he's done, I mean, they're comparable to what Southern did offensively, passing the ball last year. Um, Southern has some drops. Central has a better set of wide receivers, but Central doesn't throw the ball as much as people think that they do. They don't. They run the ball as well. It's going to be a rushing attack for both teams. And that's why I think whoever wins the rushing battle is going to win this game. Southern brings back, three starters on the offensive line. Uh, and to me, I think statistically, Central's defense may be a hair better than Southern's, but I put an asterisk by it because in conference play, who did who what defenses outside of Morgan did Central really go up against, right? Southern played fam. Southern played Jackson State. Southern played you know, um can't remember if Southern played Alabama State last year or not. But you know, having one tough game in conference and then going by stats is another thing though. But I'm actually getting to the coaches too. So, I had put some things here. So this is only the second meeting that Southern and North Carolina Central has ever had. They played before in Baton Rouge back in 2006. So North Carolina Central won that game 27-20. Um, and North Carolina Central is 1-1 within the conference, right? Excuse me. Now, Southern, nice little tidbit. Southern is undefeated in the SWAC-MEAC Challenge at 3-0. Uh, excuse me. And that's one thing I'll put in there too. So, one thing I wanted to put out here too. So yeah, passing yards. So like, for example, like last year, as a team, Southern had 1,800 passing yards, 18 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Right? Then you look at no, I'm sorry, that's Walker Harris. So Walker Harris had 1,800 yards passing, 18 touchdowns, 6 interceptions last year. That's my bad. Southern had 1,200 yards passing, 5 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions. Excuse me. But that's between three quarterbacks in a first year regime. And I always want to make line of that. Excuse me. Now, Jamar Taylor last year had 1,100 yards rushing. And, the top returning receivers, Kobe Dillon, with 793 yards. Malcolm Reed uh, had 9 sacks. Thomas Johnson had 4 sacks last year. Now, when it go to points per game, you got to look. Now, Central, the main thing was red zone. They did their damage there. But overall, Central averaged 36 points a game. Southern averaged 21. Passing yards a game. North Carolina Central averaged 204 yards a game passing. Southern averaged 207. Rushing yards a game. Central averaged 180 yards a game last year. Southern was 156. Difference is points allowed. Central was at 18. Southern was at 23. Opponents passing yards. Central gave up 142 yards. Southern 151. Opponents rushing yards. Central gave up 148. Southern gave up 141. So again, like I said, Central was just a hair better on scoring defense, right? But what potent offense did Central play in conference? So and also in their stat line, Jackson State played Southern twice and put, a nice point total on both times. You take those games away, those numbers actually favor Southern a little bit more. So I'd be remiss if I actually didn't mention that. Let me see here. Uh it was something else I wanted to mention out to you guys. Um mm, mm, mm. So yeah, Kelby Given. So the thing that's mentioned out to this game. Like I said, you can't predict what will happen because the new season look out to average 30 points a game last year with their opponent balance attack. You can't predict what will happen because of the new season. We're basing off the timeline from the end of last season to now. So yeah, you can. Now, again, if Southern doesn't run the ball well, then what I'm saying is pretty much null and void because the game will get away from them. And Central will win big. So I'm not gonna sit here and act like the game won't be what it's gonna be. Because again, if Southern can't run the ball well, none of what I'm saying even matters. The game will get aborted ugly, and Central probably end up. Well, I don't see Central putting 40 points on them anyway. I think the game, either way, I don't see anybody getting 30 points in this game. Both defenses are actually pretty good, so I don't see that happening either way it goes. But I think Cameron McCoy will have a say so in this game too with his legs. But the main thing, again, defensively, Malcolm Reed is a damn good player, but he's on the back end of the defense. I think the biggest star in this game is going to be Kelvin Givens. I think Kevin Givens will be double teamed this entire game, and in doing so, I think it's going to have to come up to what Vincent Page does. You talk about last year, guy had 73 tackles, 4.5 sacks, and one forced fumble. Coming in, made all conference this year, and I know they're expecting. You should expect some new heights in a brand new, well, in a scheme going from year one to year two. And I do. I think Kelvin Givens is going to work. This game is the type of game where you have an elite pass rusher could really show his face. And I think that's going to be the thing. Kelvin Givens will be the best player on the field. I truly, truly believe so. But again, if Holly gets the carries, then that's going to be the main thing for me. If he doesn't, then Central will easily take this game. But if Southern doesn't turn the ball over, and if Southern doesn't turn the ball over and Holly runs well, I got this game. I got Southern winning this game. I got Southern winning this game. I'm even tell y'all now. I'll probably give it a good 24-21. I'll roll with that 24-21. I'll roll with that with Southern. I got them field goal late to win the game. Um, and it'll be a huge win, right? You talk about that it'll take the naysayers away in Southern, and again, it's a good win for the SWAC. To win that game again, and it's a tone setter not only for Southern but for the conference. Knowing they got Valley coming up the next week on the road in Edabina, which would be a big game because that could potentially be a trap game. Um, but it'll quiet the naysayers because Terrence Graves is kind of on the hot seat. Um, Now I see Duke say Southern doesn't have the coaching. It's funny you say that because let me pull this up. I tend to disagree. I think when it comes to coaching, let me blow this up so you guys can see this real good. I'm gonna blow this up. I'm gonna take me out the screen real quick. I'm gonna blow this up for you guys. I tend to disagree. I think Trey Alvin's a damn good coach. I'm a fan of his, but I think when we talk about coaching, I think it's kind of too late to put the book out on Terrence Graves to say what he is and what he ain't right now. To sit here and try to equate, Graves to Oliver after just 1 year is kind of asinine to me. Unless Graves sit here and went, with a winless season or won 3 or 4 games. But the guy did in his first year what Trey Alvin didn't do in his first year. So I'll pose you this for all the people who say, Trey Alvin. And this is not to say that Graves is on the same level as Trey Alvin. That's not what I'm saying. But I think to say Graves isn't a good coach is kind of reckless at this point. Um, I think, for example, if Graves goes and wins 7 games this year, he's already ahead of what Trey Alvin was his first 2 years. I mean, it's right there on the screen. I mean, name me any time a first time head coach wins 9 games, win a division, and go to the championship game. You can sit here and say, "Oh, well, the division wasn't good." Well, guess what? It was Alcorn had a first year head coach last year. Texas Southern had a first year head coach last year. Grambling had Mickey Joseph. He was an interim coach in Nebraska, but I mean, for all intents and purposes, last year was his first year the head coach too. You know what I'm saying? With his own team, and Southern beat all of them. So you know what I'm saying. Again, you're gonna have luck sometimes. I can name some real good teams in the FBS like Miami who was loaded and had to catch a last second play to beat Duke. You know what I'm saying? It happens. And again, the fact that he did this in year one, I think to me that speaks to his coaching prowess because he never lost that team. So I'm sorry, man. To me, 9-5 is 9-5 in year one. That's how I see it. And I mean, nobody can make me feel any different. So, now if he goes in here this year and Southern wins 3 games, then guess what? Now you got a leg to stand on. But right now, nah, man. And no, even as we stand, yes, Trey Oliver is better because Trey Oliver has a national championship. He's won 2 conference titles, but he's been there for 6 years. Look at his win-loss record. I mean, again, what if I'm just throwing some out there? What if Terrence Graves goes, 8-4, his second season? He's on pace to do better than what Trey Oliver did. That's all I'm saying. So this whole thing about, man, we act like Terrence Graves can't coach at all. And again, I'll say this. Also, Terrence Graves has Big Mac on his staff too. That kind of goes without saying. So it's not like he's devoid of any type of, knowledge or assistance, saying on the staff. So, but again, the greatest equalizer this week is the fact that it's game one. I would feel a lot different, saying if Southern was if they were like they were last year, and we're going to game 3, 4, or 5, then yeah, it's clear and nice day that Central could win. But again, we have to always remember, no matter how Southern looked last year or Central, it's a new team. It's a new team for both, you know. And again, passing wise, they weren't different. You know, it's safe to say they're probably equals when it comes to starting running backs. Defenses, they're the point I'm getting is that they're comparable on both sides of the ball. It's not like Central's way up here and Southern's down here. Statistically, the only difference was scoring. But we can get to the why Southern was scoring the way they were scoring. Because again, it wasn't like Terrence Graves been at Southern for 4 or 5 years and they just been this way. It was year one. So we should give him the grace to see what it's gonna look like in year two. Just like last year when TC Taylor came in at 7-4 his first year. Everybody was down on Jack State. And I was like, but you saw what it was. And then when it came back for their second year, it was like shit. And now look at Jackson State, right? And the only difference is I can't speak to because I don't keep up with the way Southern recruits. I can't speak to what Southern has done from a recruiting standpoint, and I'm not even going to try to go there. But just for this particular game, man, I got Southern in a close one. I do. And if anybody sees this, no, I'm not rooting for Southern. I could care less about them. I'm just giving my honest take. I think logically, you know what I'm saying? These guys, both teams match up really well with each other. They really do. Two good defenses. Both teams want to run the ball. Central just the year beforehand has a little better capability of throwing the ball. But also, what happens with injury, right? Kelby Givens. What happened to Walker Rock? Walker Harris goes down. What do they do with backup? Southern had to rely on Cameron McCoy. And he's not that great of a passer, but I know what he can do passing the ball. But what I think Cameron McCoy fits their offense and what they want to do a lot more there than he would at Jackson State. So we'll see. And yeah, Southern is the same team, but the same team when they went 9-5 last year. I don't see them regressing too much. So y'all give me a bit of coverage, but who y'all think gonna win? I'm gonna get up out of here in a few minutes, man. Y'all give me who y'all think gonna win and y'all score as well, man. And thank y'all for tuning in too, man. I got sick of going on with this doggone microphone. We're having some problems trying to kicking us off the line. What up, Tuck? Crook in here. Uh, but yeah, man. So like I told you guys, man, for real, me and Scotty will be going live every Saturday night, man. After the last game ends every week. With a live raw reaction to the whole SWAC-MEAC lineup. Eddie say Central gonna win 21-7. Carrie says Central gonna win 27-21. Man, look, me and Mike, you ain't say who you gonna win. You ain't put no score in there. So then got the coach. That is gonna be the SWAC boogeyman this year. They're gonna catch some folks slipping. Wayne, I don't think they're gonna be the boogeyman this year. They're gonna clip somebody, but I got Valley winning 4 games. I got Valley beating. They're gonna beat. They play they play Lincoln out of California for homecoming. That's a dub. I got Valley getting Bethune Cookman. I got Valley getting Alcorn, and I got Valley getting Alabama State. It's 4 wins. It's 4 wins, and I see it. I got Central 31-20. Do you see Southern beat any team with a record? Dukes, yeah, I do. I got Southern beat Central. Yeah, I think the SWAC West, man, is going to be a lot more of what it was last year. I think the winner of the SWAC West is gonna have 2 losses too. Uh Again, I got Texas Southern as a dark horse, but Gremlin, I think Gremlin's gonna be solid. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna come down to quarterback play. Uh, Gremlin's bringing in a new quarterback, but Texas Southern is bringing back. He started 1 game; he was out all last year. But I think it's gonna come down to those 3. Man, it's gonna come down to Southern, Grambling, Texas Southern, and I got Prairie View as an outlier, right? Um, Blue, come on, come on, come on, come on. We can put a bet. We could do a bet. We could do a bet. We could do a bet. I'm serious. I do. And I never talk about Valley. I'm not one of those people like, yeah, Valley, go get somebody this year. You can't find it nowhere. I've never been that person. But I love what T Buck is doing over there. Um, they got some talent. They got some talent. Been hitting up Fuller pretty good. Um, but again, Texas Southern has made some nice pieces. Gremlin has the talent. It's just gonna come down to how they get it together. Now I'd be lying if I didn't tell you. Like I said, Prairie View's gonna have something to say into it too, um, because look, they have the easiest pathway. They don't play FAMU, they don't play Jackson State. Um, they have the easiest pathway going off of how everybody finished last year. So again, we don't know who's going to win and lose this year. But if you look at the records last year and who was on their schedule, they have the easiest pathway. EA, yeah. Let me say this. EA, y'all don't have to say the name Bragg to Jackson State like they're supposed to send some shockwaves to us. You do know we have a winning record in Bragg, right? And that name Bragg don't bother us. Y'all got y'all Bragg from Jackson State. Let me talk about this. Y'all do know Bragg Stadium at FAMU. Y'all do know Bragg came from Jackson State, right? FAMU got their Bragg from Jackson State. But now, I mean, the last time we were there, we got a dub. You can talk about how it happened, but we got a dub. I haven't been to Tallahassee a whole lot of time, but every time that I've gone, we won. So that whole thing about we're gonna come and Bragg get a win, I expect nothing less because that's what we do every time we go from when I've been there. I haven't seen a lot of losses in Bragg. Go figure. Go figure. So yeah, I expect to come to leave Vegas and then come to Tallahassee next week and win. And I told you I'm gonna be there with my snakeskin boots on. But yeah, yeah, man. Yeah, if y'all didn't know that, man, FAMU got their Bragg from JSU. Check your history books. Y'all gonna find out who Eugene Bragg is. Yes, I know the stadium's called Juby Bragg, but FAMU got their Bragg from Jack State. It's true. But yeah, man. But no, man. I think honestly, man, seriously, I'm getting hit about it here, but in my heart of hearts, man, I think it's gonna be a damn good year in the swag. I think we're in for some surprises. I don't Does Jack State have a damn good chance to run it? Yeah, they do. But I'm not gonna sit here and say that we are gonna go undefeated in the conference. I think because it's hard to do that, right? That thing we had in uh that thing we had in 2022 was special, right? 2023 too. No, 2022. 2022. 2022 was special. Um But if I had to choose, man, I'll say I got us going 10-1. But can we go 9-2 and win the conference? Yes, sir. But I think 9-2 is the worst that Jack said it'll be. Seriously. But I honestly think we got a legit chance to go 11-0. That USM game is going to be a humdinger, but we got the roster and the right coaching staff to win in Hattiesburg this year. We really do. Still got to have some things to bounce our way. But I love the makeup of this team. I love the makeup of the staff, and with TC leading, I'm all behind him, and I think we got the mentality and the makeup to win in Hattiesburg. We really do. We got the players, the team to really get after it. But again, you can be head and shoulders better than the team and still lose a game. So we lost to Grumman last year and came back and then lose another game. So that could easily happen this year as well. But I think it's going to be a damn good year in conference. I think we're going to win more non-conference games this year than we have in the previous years. I think we run the risk of having more winning records within the conference this year. I do. Not by a long shot, but just from team to team. I think we run the risk of being better than what we were last season. So that's all I got, man. Look, 10:30. Right about here, man. Listen, thanks for tuning in. Look, coming live with Scotty live, real raw reactions after the game Saturday evening. Y'all check it. We're gonna drop some information on you guys tomorrow and Friday. And look, I'll be back next week. Definitely be back next week, man. Be back next Thursday to preview next week's games, man. And like I said, man, thanks for tuning in, man. Your boy Zoe. We out of here, man. Y'all take it easy. Peace.